Jim Henson's Creature Shop in London and the world's oldest comic book shop. Next on The Buzz. This week, they don't just make Muppets anymore. Jim Henson's Creature Shop is becoming a major player in creature effects. A Buzz field trip to one of the country's most popular science centers. We tracked down the man who back in the 50s opened the first comic book store. And a loving salute to Hollywood's meanest superhero. Ho, 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 Buzzers. Welcome to Sci-Fi Buzz and Sci-Fi Central. Nice to have you here. You know, Christmas 95 is almost here. That's why the staff, be careful back there, gang. Make sure the lights all work before we string them. Oh, man, remember last year? Oh, boy. But guess what's in the pipeline for Christmas 96? We're way ahead of the game. We're already talking next year. Our crack staff has learned that vampire novelist Anne Rice, it's right here, will be turning her name into a commercial brand, believe it or not. She'll be marketing Anne Rice jewelry. Also got T-shirts, it says here, among other products, featuring images of her vampires, but also her. You know, I'm having trouble getting into the Christmas spirit this year, and I've honed it down to the reason. The Muppets. There has been no Muppet movie in this entire month. In fact, according to the old computer here, Muppet Treasure Island, their next theatrical release, isn't due until February. Now, so to fill that void in this holiday season, as a public service to you from The Buzz, we hopped on an airplane, went over to London, and we checked out Jim Henson's Creature Shop just for you. Happy holidays. The late Jim Henson's London-based Creature Shop has conjured up many of the cute and colorful characters that have graced feature films and television shows over the last 15 years. The Muppet Show, which was financed by a British production company and filmed in London, proved to be the creative catalyst for Henson's overseas venture. Henson's films like The Dark Crystal and Labyrinth utilize darker, more complicated creatures than his simple signature Muppets. But Creature Shop project supervisor Jamie Courtier says the company is still associated with all things cute and cuddly.
That's kind of an image that we'd love to escape from, because of course we have the technical expertise and the artistic ability to really cut across the board in any direction. You know, we could produce a robot or a spaceship, or we could produce hard-edged dinosaurs with the same aptitude that we can produce kind of cute characters for films like Flintstones, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We'd very much like to expand our scope.
Hoping to heighten their exposure in the ever-expanding special effects industry, the shop recently opened their own computer graphics department. But animatronics, the more traditional method of creature effects, is still very much in the picture.
The latest rage for us is actually a fusion of computer-generated characters and animatronics, which is our staple diet at the moment.
What power?
Power of voodoo.
Voodoo?
You
Do what?
I need the babe.
Oh!
We have animatronic creatures, but they have their limits. Animatronic creatures are controlled by cables or by puppeteers, and physically it's difficult to make them move around as much as one's imagination would like them to. CG, computer graphics, actually fills that gap. You know, a computer-generated character knows no bounds. It can leap over tall buildings, but animatronics, being a physical, you know, an actual physical entity, is still good for close-ups, but the two can be married.
Animatronic project supervisor Neil Scanlon says, ultimately, it doesn't matter how a creature is constructed. The key is making sure audiences are enamored of the character.
I think that's the one thing that animatronics strives for all the time. I think it believes to convince an audience that the character's actually talking. I know we've done lots of experiments here where we've built mock-ups, we've shot them, and then we've asked somebody who can lip read whether or not they can indeed tell what he was saying, and with some success they can.
You monster!
They breed as fast as I can spray.
Jim Henson's sudden death in 1990 deeply affected morale at the Creature Shop. Now with his son Brian, also a professional puppeteer, at the helm, the company appears to be on the upswing.
Everybody was used to referring to Jim and finding his approval. And that was such an unusual thing in a corporation. You know, that people actually wanted to be praised or wanted to have the work that they were doing assessed by Jim and have his word and say so. It was a very personal thing.
The Creature Shop produced several animatronic farm animals for last summer's sleeper hit, Babe. And under Brian Henson's direction, Muppet Treasure Island is due to hit theaters in February of '96. While he's pleased the company is moving at full throttle again, Jamie Courtier knows of but one thing that would make life picture perfect.
Oh, give me some realistic dinosaur projects.
This is Pete Chambers from England, President of the Alien Nation Appreciation Society. I've got a great holiday gift idea for the Alien Nation fan in your family. Enroll them for a membership to this unique international fan club, the major source of information for the show. For only $15 a year, you get 6 issues of the Tankton Planet newsletter, plus a button badge, 4 stickers, membership card, and a cast photo. For more information, send a self-stamped addressed envelope.
Shazam! It's Captain Marvel, after the celebration of American free enterprise. What you rapping, Dave? Huh? What is it?
It's the Adventures of Captain Marvel, Mike.
Is that for me? Is that for me? Huh?
No, no, it's for a friend. But a lot of people think this was the best serial ever made, including me. And you know, these 12 episodes on home video are a really cool gift, especially for somebody your age.
The 1941 serial, The Adventures of Captain Marvel, marked the first time a comic book superhero ever appeared on the silver screen. It's considered by many to be the finest serial ever made. And thanks to home video, you can continue to enjoy its superb special effects and first-rate production values.
Where's Miss Wallace? Where's Miss Wallace? Talk fast, or I'll...
The chapter play chronicles the exploits of the world's mightiest mortal and his alter ego, Billy Batson. A mild-mannered radio news reporter, Billy can transform himself into Captain Marvel by uttering the magic word,
Shazam!
So that's where Gomer Pyle got that, huh? For 12 episodes, Captain Marvel battles the Scorpion. The mysterious villain is intent on obtaining 6 optical lenses that, when aligned properly, can turn any material into solid gold or reduce it to atoms.
Focus the beam directly into the mouth of the tunnel.
Captain Marvel differs from other fantasy heroes in that he has no reservations about getting mean. Can you imagine Batman machine gunning his enemies in the back, no less? Or how about the Green Hornet using some poor guy's head for a battering ram? I don't think so. And can you picture Superman getting this nasty? Captain Marvel was brought to life by B-Western star Tom Tyler. Though he had been an Olympic weightlifter, he didn't do his own stunts, which is just as well. His stuntman, Dave Sharp, was one of the all-time best. His spectacular takeoff leaps and landings are legendary. He executed these amazing vaults with the aid of a small trampoline. To complete the illusion of flying, Republic Pictures relied on its crack special effects team, Howard and Theodore Lydecker. The brothers developed a technique which used an 8-foot-long dummy that slid along a great length of wire. The serial also borrowed lots of effects footage from other films to give it a first-class look on a shoestring budget.
We'll rig the breaches, boy. Signal when we're ready for you to haul in. Yes, sir.
If more serials had been produced with the care and enthusiasm put into the adventures of Captain Marvel, they might have survived longer. It's a splendid celebration of low-budget craftsmanship that influenced TV and movies for decades. A holiday tip: how about a safari to your local science center? After this. Careful, careful. Lift with your legs, not your back. Oh my goodness. Hey, you know what? I'm still desperate for gift ideas. Call me on the Buzz on good stuff that you found. Comics, books, videos, games, whatever. Your holiday finds. Did you get it?
Yes.
This is Ann Shea from State College, Pennsylvania. I've got a great last-minute gift idea for your friends. How about giving them a subscription to Wired magazine? While the mainstream media is still trying to figure out what the digital revolution is, Wired will not only tell you what's up with new technology, it'll help you make some sense out of it. Wired is a hip, slick monthly that will make you think, sometimes make you mad, but always entertain. So if you want to give a gift that your friends will look forward to every month, give them Wired.
I've said it before, and darn it, I'm going to say it again right now. One of the best places to have fun with science is at a science museum. I mean, isn't that right, staff? Allison, John?
You're the boss, Mike.
That's what I like to hear. So if you have some extra time over the holidays here, check out a science museum. One of my favorites is the Liberty Science Center in New Jersey. The great thing about going to a science museum is that you can be yourself. Now, in my case, that means acting like a kid. When I really was a kid, museums were stuffy and boring. Today, science museums, actually they are frequently called science centers, are interactive and fun. And they're all across the country.
There are about 186 as of this year. 2 years ago when we opened, 26 opened that same year, including a major one in St. Louis, and then we were the largest of the bunch. But I think the reason is people want to get something for their entertainment dollar. You come here, you learn something, the families interact, you've taken something away with you. It's not just like going on a roller coaster again for a third or fourth time. You're learning, it's different every time.
Overlooking the New York City skyline from Jersey City, the Liberty Science Center has gotten high marks from writers and editors in many national publications. Upon entering, you immediately spot the Hoberman Sphere. And you say, wow, this expanding globe performs a 20-minute dance by opening and closing in a series of rhythms. But Buzzers, I don't do tours. You'll have to check out the 250 interactive exhibits here on your own. I'm just going to my two favorites.
Now this game is called Virtual Hoops. It's virtual reality basketball. Oh no, ooh, I hit him in the head. Hope he doesn't get angry at me. It's like being on the inside of a video game. Actually behind me is just a blue chroma key wall, but the image is being projected on that wall over there, see? So I know what I'm doing, or kind of. Okay, watch this one. It's like playing against the pros. Well, kind of like I would play against the pros. Ooh. Oh, it went in, good score. Ooh, wait a minute, that's football.
Have you ever been strapped into a pregnancy simulator? Well, I have. At the Liberty Science Center, they call it an empathy belly.
When women are pregnant, they're going through something that a lot of people don't understand. So we put the 40 pounds of weight on people and allow them to kind of walk around like this and see what it's like to be pregnant. And the reason we call it empathy is we want people to understand and feel sorry for all those pregnant ladies dragging all the weight around with them.
Doesn't this look like fun? Or this? Or how about this? I say, skip that movie or amusement park and instead check out a science center near you. It's like a roller coaster for your brain. The comic book fan who turned his hobby into the world's first comic book store. And our Buzz Best Bets next. Susan, it's time to answer a fan question. This came in on the Buzz board. What is the oldest comic book store in America?
I know the answer to this.
At least we can't be 100% sure, but our research shows it's a comic book store in Torrance, California.
What? Torrance,
started by an 11-year-old kid 39 years ago. That's what our research shows.
You're expecting me to believe that?
Look.
Okay, Trivia Meisters, the first McDonald's was in San Bernardino. The first Starbucks was in Seattle. But where was the first comic book store? Gotcha. The answer is Torrance, California. The comic vendor opened in 1956. And as a matter of fact, it's still open. The store is owned and operated by Nick and Pamela Scotto.
Stray Bullets, number 7. I didn't know it went that high.
It all started because Nick was a fanatic comic collector from age 4 or 5. He just had to have every issue in a particular series. But there wasn't any decent place to find back issues to fill in gaps in his collection.
So I started selling at swap meets and trading at swap meets. And people wanted a little money for their comics. Sometimes they would want as much as a nickel. And so I had to sell a few of the comics.
Next thing you know, little Nick's selling comics out of the garage in his parents' house.
When we applied for the business license, my parents applied for the license. I was 11 years old. And I ran the store myself. My parents had absolutely nothing to do with it except for the business license.
Nick became a serious little entrepreneur when he discovered there was some serious dinero to be made in used comics.
About late '59, I realized something that probably turned me into a dealer. And that was that I could actually sell an old comic book that had 10 cents on the cover that was used for more than 10 cents.
In 4 decades, the tiny garage store has grown into a comic book emporium with about 50,000 comics on display and 4 million more in a warehouse. They range from the latest X-Men to titles which make collectors drool, like Batman #1. These Golden Age comics can fetch prices into the 6 figures. But the comic vendor has not only made Nick money, it's made him a happily married man. He met wife Pamela when she came into the store 25 years ago to have her Superman annual appraised.
And I heard that comic books could be kind of collectible and that there was this place, that comic vendor, that bought comic books. So I hunted Nick up, went in, there was this crazy Italian racing behind the counter.
7 years later, she married that crazy Italian, and now she runs the store while he handles the wholesale trade and mail orders. Over the years, they've seen it all when it comes to customers, like the dangerous-looking biker who came roaring up on his hog with several biker buddies and entered the store.
He was probably about 6'5", big engineer's boots, the whole thing. And I was thinking that there was a real good chance that I was going to be out of business that day. And he comes out and pulls off his big gloves and everything. And the other people were sitting back a bit. You know, they were outside of the store because there's only room for about one person. And he said to me in a reasonably normal voice, not too low, if I had any little Lulus. This gentleman collected little Lulus.
Though Nick and Pamela have gone from being collectors to big-time comic dealers, they remain fans at heart. And even after all those years in business, it's still hard to sell some of the treasures that come into their hands. They find themselves creating secret stashes.
Both of us do it. We hide little books off on the side, and yeah I'm still a collector.
This is Jonathan from Los Angeles, and I have a great gift idea for any Star Trek The Next Generation fan in your family. It's Star Trek The Next Generation, A Final Unity, a CD-ROM game from Spectrum Holobytes. If you ever wanted to sit in Picard's captain's chair and interact with all the characters, including Commander Riker, Geordi LaForge, Lieutenant Worf, Deanna Troi, then this is the game. It's like an interactive episode of the show with graphics, sound, and music directly from the television series, and also with the voices of the actual actors. I really recommend it as a great gift idea.
A far-out French fantasy and computer games that aim to please adults on this week's Buzz Best Bets. Those looking for light, wholesome entertainment should steer clear of the City of Lost Children. But those seeking visually stunning, surrealistic cinema should find this film a satisfying treat. The same team behind the bizarre art house hit Delicatessen are at it again. Haunting post-apocalyptic sets, state-of-the-art special effects, and Jean-Paul Gaultier's eccentric costumes have helped the filmmakers fashion a disturbing world shrouded in mystery. In a story inspired by traditional fairy tales, American actor Ron Perlman stars as a circus strongman looking for an adopted brother who's been kidnapped by a mad scientist. The City of Lost Children is playing in New York and L.A. and opens in other big cities early next year. And if surreal French films aren't your cup of onion soup, relax, we've got some other enticing options. Viacom New Media's Zoop has been hailed as the ultimate puzzle game. Available on most platforms, including PC Diskette, Zoop offers top-notch puzzle play. The object of the game is to defend the center square, while fast-moving, multicolored shapes come closing in from all different directions. You can advance to 99 increasingly difficult levels. Activision recently released the CD-ROM Shanghai Great Moments, a multimedia tile matching game on Windows 95. Based on the traditional Chinese board game Mahjong, the object is to clear the board of 144 tiles. This is done by clicking on matching pairs and categories ranging from science fiction to famous people. Those are this week's Buzz Best Bets. Well, the staff and I want to wish you and your family just the happiest and the buzzingest holiday ever. See you next week, everybody. Have a good holiday.
Hello, I'm Gina St. John. This week on CNET Central, take a look at the workplace of the future, your home. See the technology that's making it possible. Coming up next.